My maid is carrying my husband's child. The words are poison in my mouth, acid on my tongue. She told me yesterday, in my own kitchen, in the home I believed was sacred. My name is Diana, and the two people I trusted with my whole fragile heart have shattered it. Now she is 6 months pregnant. She is living under my roof, sleeping in a room I provided, carrying a secret that has been rotting the foundation of my life for half a year. My hands are shaking as I tell you this. I am sitting at my kitchen table, the marble cold and hard beneath my palms. The house is silent, a tomb of broken promises. But my mind? My mind is a screaming, howling storm. I need to tell you. I need to pour this pain out before it drowns me. I want you to see how a perfect, glossy life can crack and reveal the rot festering beneath. Maybe you will see your own strength in my weakness. Maybe you will learn to listen to the quiet alarms I ignored. Let me start from the beginning. I am 30 years old. I live in a city that never sleeps, a roaring beast of glass and steel. But here, in this beautiful house with its manicured garden and red, red roses, I built a sanctuary of silence. It was my safe place, my sanctuary, my beautiful, beautiful lie. I shared this lie with my husband. His name is Mark. Mark is the kind of handsome that feels like a promise. Tall, with a smile that could disarm a room, a smile I believed was meant only for me. He wore suits like armor, and he worked hard, or so I thought. I loved him with a devotion that bordered on worship. For 5 years, I believed he hung the moon. For 5 years, I was happily, blissfully blind. I am a teacher. I spend my days surrounded by the chaotic, honest noise of children. I come home spent, my soul full but my body aching with fatigue. This house is large. Its emptiness began to echo. The silence grew heavy, a weight I carried alone. 2 years ago, I reached for him. Mark, I need help. The house, it's too much. I'm so tired. He smiled that dazzling smile. Of course, darling. Let's hire someone. You deserve to rest. His words felt like a caress. I felt seen, cared for. We found Alina. She was 22, a quiet ghost of a girl with enormous brown eyes that held entire worlds of sadness. She came from a village dusted with poverty, and she needed work desperately. Her voice was a soft melody, her manners impeccable. My heart, my foolish maternal heart, went out to her immediately. She's the one, I told Mark. He agreed with a casual nod. If you like her. Alina moved into the small sunlit room off the kitchen. For 2 years, she was not just my help. She became my shadow, my companion, my confidant. With Mark working late, the empty hours were filled with her presence. We cooked together, we laughed. I learned about her dreams of becoming a nurse, and I, in my arrogant generosity, promised to help her. I gave her books, I taught her words. I treated her like the little sister I never had. I trusted her, completely. I left my life scattered around this house, my jewelry, my secrets, my vulnerabilities, and never thought twice. She was honest. She was kind. She was mine. And Mark? Mark was my husband. He kissed me goodbye each morning. He brought me flowers. He whispered, "I love you," into the shell of my ear, and I drank the words like water in a desert. But 6 months ago, the air began to change. It was subtle, a shift in the atmospheric pressure of my own home. Mark's late nights multiplied. He'd come home at 9, 10, smelling of expensive whiskey and distant excuses. "Work is brutal," he'd sigh, his kisses landing on my cheek instead of my lips. "My boss is a tyrant." I believed him. I smoothed his wrinkled brow and told him, "It's okay, my love. You work so hard for us." He stopped eating my dinners. He took his sleep in rigid, solitary silence, turned away from me in our large bed. A chilling distance settled between us, a glacier I didn't know how to cross. And Alina, my singing, smiling Alina, grew quiet. The songs died in her throat. A permanent sadness clouded her beautiful eyes. She began to drown herself in large, shapeless clothes, abandoning her neat uniform. "I've gained a little weight, madam," she'd murmur, avoiding my gaze. "I like to be comfortable." I was busy. I was distracted. I was a fool. A month ago, the morning sickness began. I heard her retching in the bathroom before dawn, a raw, painful sound. I knocked, concerned. "Alina, are you ill?" She opened the door, her face the color of chalk. "Just a stomach ache, madam. Bad food." I was kind. I made her tea. I sat on the edge of her bed, the same bed I provided, and felt her cool forehead. "Perhaps a doctor?" I suggested. Panic, raw animal panic, flashed in her eyes. "No, no doctor, please!" That night I told Mark. "Alina is sick. She's vomiting." The reaction was instantaneous and telling. He froze, a glass of water halfway to his lips. His knuckles turned white. "Maybe she should go back to her village," he said too quickly, his voice strangely flat. "If she's too sick to work." I dismissed it. I defended her. My loyalty, my infinite, stupid loyalty, was a weapon they both used against me. Then came yesterday, a Tuesday like any other, until it wasn't. I came home early with a migraine, seeking the silence of my sanctuary. The house held its breath. I walked into the kitchen, and I saw her. Alina stood at the sink, her back to me, lost in thought. She wore a stretched, thin t-shirt, and it pulled tightly across the unmistakable rounded curve of her belly. A perfect, pregnant dome. Not fat. Life. My own breath vanished. The world narrowed to that single, betraying shape. "Alina." She jumped. A plate slipped from her hands and exploded on the tiles, a symphony of shattering truth. Smash. She turned, and she saw that I saw. Her hands flew to her stomach, a futile attempt to hide the evidence. And then the tears came, a torrent of guilt and fear. I moved as if through deep water. My legs were lead. "Alina, are you pregnant?" Her answer was a wail. She collapsed to her knees amidst the broken porcelain, covering her face. "I'm sorry, madam. I'm so sorry." Confusion and a cold, creeping dread seized my heart. "Who?" I demanded, my voice a stranger's. "Who is the father? Do you have a boyfriend?" She shook her head violently, her sobs shaking her entire frame. The cold in my stomach turned to ice. "Alina, look at me. Tell me, who is the father?" She looked up, then, her eyes pools of utter devastation. And she whispered the two words that dismantled my universe. "It's Sir." I stared, uncomprehending. "Sir?" She swallowed a sob, her voice barely audible. "Mr. Mark. It is Mr. Marks." No. The denial was a physical force in my chest. That's a lie, I hissed. Mark loves me. He is my husband. It's true, she wept, her body curling protectively around her belly. It started 6 months ago. I tried to stop, but he said never to tell you. He said I could stay if I was quiet. 6 months. The timeline clicked into place with the precision of a trap snapping shut. The late nights, the distance, his desire to send her away. I stumbled back from her, from the living, breathing proof of my oblivion. Nausea rose, bitter and hot in my throat. I turned and I ran. I ran to my bedroom, our bedroom, and locked the door. I sat on the bed we shared, and I stared at the wall where our wedding photo smiled back, a mockery of joy. I didn't cry. The shock was too absolute. It was a vacuum, sucking all sound, all feeling, all hope into its void. My husband and my maid. In my house. A baby. The fire came later. A cleansing, furious inferno of rage that burned away the shock. I sat in the gathering darkness, and I waited for him. I heard his key in the lock, his footsteps on the stairs, his voice, light, oblivious, criminal. Diana? Alina, where's dinner? He tried the door. Diana, why's the door locked? I stood. I unlocked it. I opened it, and I looked at the man I had loved. He stood there in his tailored blue suit, handsome, successful, a stranger. A monster wearing my husband's face. We need to talk, I said, my voice eerily calm. He saw the ice in my eyes. His smile faltered and died. What's wrong? I know. 2 words. 2 bullets. He paled. Know what? I know about Alina, I said, each syllable a shard of glass. I know about the baby. He froze. The silence that followed was the most deafening sound I have ever heard. In that silence, I begged. I prayed for him to deny it, to laugh, to call me crazy. Instead, he looked at the floor. The guilt on his face was the final, crushing confession. Diana, please, he stammered. Let me explain. Explain? My calm shattered. The scream tore from a place I didn't know existed. Explain what? How? You fucked our maid in my home. How you got her pregnant? He reached for me. I recoiled as if from a venomous snake. Don't you dare touch me. It was a mistake, he pleaded, his hands fluttering uselessly. It meant nothing. I was lonely. You were always so tired. The blame. He dared to lay the blame at my feet. I was tired from work, I roared. I was tired from building a life for us, and you used that as your excuse? He shifted then, his fear curdling into something uglier. She seduced me, he spat, his gaze darting away. It was her fault. Disgust, pure, undiluted disgust washed over me. I looked at this 35-year-old man, pointing a finger at a terrified, pregnant 22-year-old girl he employed. You are the husband, I said, my voice dropping to a deadly whisper. You made vows. You held the power. You do not get to blame her. I'm sorry, he said, the words hollow, meaningless. We can fix this. We'll send her away. I'll pay her off. We can forget this ever happened. Forget. A laugh escaped me, a dry, broken sound that held no humor. There is a baby, Mark. A living, breathing human being. You cannot forget a child. It will be here in 3 months. His face hardened. His eyes turned cold, the eyes of a businessman assessing a liability. I don't want the baby, he said, his voice flat. I want you. In that moment, any lingering love I had for him turned to ash. He was willing to discard his own child, to hide his sin, to continue the lie. I saw the man he truly was, and he was empty. "Get out," I said. "What?" "Get out of this room. Sleep in the guest room. Don't speak to me." Anger flushed his cheeks. "This is my house too. Get out!" I screamed it with the full force of my shattered soul, hurling a pillow at him, a pathetic, soft missile of my fury. He left. The door slammed, a period at the end of our marriage. And then, only then, did the tears come. They were not gentle. They were a convulsion, a violent expulsion of 5 years of trust, of dreams, of a future I thought was mine. I wept until I was hollow. That was yesterday. Now it is today. I am sitting in the kitchen again, the scene of the crime. Alina is here, moving like a ghost, making tea with trembling hands. She is afraid of me. She should be. I look at her, this girl I clothed, fed, confided in, this girl who kissed my husband in the shadows of my home. I should hate her. I want to hate her. But when I look at her, I see the terrified child beneath the woman's shape. I see the roundness of her belly, an innocent life caught in this web of betrayal. She has no money, no family, nowhere to run. She is a prisoner of Mark's cruelty, just as I was. "Alina," I say. She jumps, nearly dropping the teacup. "Yes, madame." "Sit down." She obeys, perching on the edge of the chair, her eyes fixed on the table. "Why did you stay?" I ask, my voice worn thin. "Why didn't you leave when you knew?" Her whisper is barely audible. "I was scared. I had nowhere to go. My parents, they would disown me. He said I could stay if I was quiet." He said I could stay if I was quiet. The control, the manipulation. My anger refocuses, sharpens, aims squarely at the man who is my husband. "What do you want to do?" I ask her. She just shakes her head, tears splashing onto the wood. "I don't know. I want the baby to be safe." I look out at the garden. The roses are a violent, cheerful red. The sun is shameless in its brilliance. The world is obscenely beautiful, while mine lies in ruins. I have a decision to make. I can burn it all down, throw them both into the street, let the scandal consume us. Or, I hear his footsteps on the stairs. Mark enters the kitchen, his expression cautiously hopeful. He thinks the storm has passed. He thinks I will be reasonable. He ignores Alina completely, as if she is furniture. "Good morning, Diana," he says, a tentative peace offering. I stand. I am not a tall woman, but in this moment, I tower. "Mark, I have made a decision." A faint, relieved smile touches his lips. "Good. I knew you'd see sense. I'll call a taxi for her today." "No." The word is a stone dropped into still water. His smile falters. "No?" Alina stays. Both of them stare at me, identical expressions of shock on their faces. "What?" Mark barks. "Why? She is the problem." "She is not the problem," I say, my voice low and steady. "She is carrying a child. She has nowhere to go. She stays here until the baby is born. She needs care. She needs a doctor. She needs rest." Mark's face floods with crimson anger. "You want her to live here with that belly? Everyone will see. Everyone will know." "Yes," I say, meeting his gaze without flinching. "Everyone will know what you did." "I can't live with her here," he shouts, slamming his hand on the counter. "Then you leave," I say, the calm in, my voice absolute. The silence that follows is profound. The only sound is the relentless tick-tock of the wall clock, measuring the end of our life together. "You're kicking me out?" he asks, incredulous. "This is my house." "I spoke to my lawyer this morning," I lie, the falsehood coming easily, a weapon I gladly wield. "If you want to fight me, we can fight, but discovery will be ugly. Your partners, your parents, the entire city will know the truth." I see the calculation in his eyes. Mark is a proud man. His image is his temple. The threat of shame, of being exposed as the man who impregnated his maid and cast her out, is a threat he cannot bear. He looks at me, really looks at me, and he sees the woman I have become overnight. The trusting wife is gone. In her place stands someone forged in betrayal, someone he does not know. And he is afraid.
"Fine," he spits, the word venomous. "I'll go to a hotel, until you come to your senses."
"Pack a bag," I say, turning away from him. "Take what you need." I listen to the sounds of his angry departure, the stomping, the slamming drawers, the final thunderous crash of the front door. The house shudders, and then falls still. It is just me and Alina now. And the baby. She looks at me, her eyes swimming with confusion and a desperate, fragile hope. "Madame, why?" she breathes. "Why are you helping me? I did a terrible thing to you." I look at her, and I feel a sadness so deep it has no bottom. I do not forgive her. Not yet. Perhaps never. Trust is a porcelain vase. Once broken, the pieces may be glued, but the cracks will always catch the light. "I am not doing this for you, Alina," I say, my voice tired but clear. "I am doing it for the child, and I am doing it for myself." I take a deep, shuddering breath. I will not become cruel simply because my husband was. She nods, a single tear tracing a path down her cheek. She understands. The pain in my chest is a physical thing, a ragged hole where my heart used to be. I loved my life. I loved the dream of it. That dream is dead. But as I stand in the wreckage, I feel something else stirring, a terrifying, electric sense of freedom. For years, I curated a perfect existence for him. I made myself smaller, quieter, less, to fit the space he allowed. And it was never enough. Now, I only have to be enough for myself. I walk into the garden. The sun warms my skin, a real sensation in the day that has felt like a nightmare. I am Diana. I am 30 years old. My husband is an adulterer and a coward. My maid carries his child. It is a sordid, pitiful story. But I am still here. I am still breathing. The birds, oblivious to my pain, continue their reckless songs. I realize something today, sitting on this bench, surrounded by his prized roses. We cannot control the betrayals of others. We can only command our own hearts in the aftermath. Mark chose deceit. Alina chose silence. I choose dignity. I choose to walk through this fire without letting it burn away my humanity. I will survive this. The road ahead is shrouded in fog, lawyers, divorce, financial unraveling, the gawking eyes of a scandalized world. Let them look. Let them whisper. I will hold my head high. I know the truth of who I was in my marriage, faithful, loving, and true. That truth is my armor. If you are listening, if your own heart is lying in pieces at your feet, please hear me. You are so much stronger than you know. Betrayal is a dagger to the soul. The wound is deep, and it will scar. but it will not kill you. It will not. I will ensure this baby is brought safely into the world, because every life deserves a chance, even one born from such a bitter seed. And then, I will build a new life from the ashes of the old. A life of my own design. A life without lies. A life without Mark. The future is a vast, terrifying blank page. Yesterday, I knew its every chapter. Today, the map is ashes. I am lost in a dark wood, but I will keep walking. One step, then another. My name is Diana. This is my story of betrayal. It is a tragedy today. But tomorrow, I begin the story of my survival. Stand up from the bench. The sun is still shining. I go back inside the house. Alina, I call. Her voice is small from the kitchen. Yes, madame? Let's make lunch, I say. We need to eat. She looks at me, surprise softening the fear in her eyes. Then a slow, tentative nod. Yes, madame. We stand in the kitchen, not as mistress and maid, not as victim and betrayer, but as two wounded women bound by a terrible secret, chopping vegetables in a heavy, peaceful silence. Life, relentless, stubborn life, goes on. And so will I. Thank you for listening to my shattered heart. Remember this: be mercilessly kind to yourself. You are a universe of worth, and you deserve a love that does not lie. If I can face this, you can face anything. Goodbye for now. I have a lunch to prepare, and a self to reclaim.